Hi guys, happy September. Okay, so you probably noticed I'm in a different spot. I'm not in my office. We are having work done in our house, so I can't be in my office. So I'm in my library right now. So bear with me with the visuals and the acoustics. Is a very big room and all those sorts of things. Yeah, so we're having work done in our basement and also getting our deck done. So I also might pause if I start to hear noises. But other than that, we are business as usual. I'm happy to be here. Happy September. Let's plan this month. So I always like to start off with what I did to sort of reset for this month, along with my normal monthly reset routine. One of the things that is usually in there is something to do to sort of reset and make me feel like I'm like pressing the reset button. I didn't decorate this month, but it's back to school, and AKA for my daughter who started kindergarten, she started school. She started kindergarten this week, and as you saw in the introduction, she was making some gifts for her teachers this morning. So we did that this morning. We also, got her backpack ready, her snacks ready. So that's kind of been like the focus of this month, is just setting up with a new schedule, a new routine. I am going to be picking her up from school, so my work day is going to be stopping much earlier. So I've been kind of preparing myself for that as well. And then another thing I'm going to do to sort of reset for the month is do a toy rotation this weekend. So those are kind of things that we've been doing. The main thing that I have been doing to reset actually for September is getting back to routines. So in the summer, especially if your kids are at home with you at the summer, you probably just off your routine. We're all outside, whether you have kids or not. You're on vacation. For us, we were gone for about a month on vacation. We went to Texas, then we went to France for like 3.5 weeks. So as we start this month is getting back to our routines. Largely for me, it's about getting back to my home and health routines. So getting back on my workout schedule, getting back on the cleaning routines, getting in the groove of dropping them at school, and that whole thing. I wrote an email, if you're on my email newsletter, just about how I sort of get myself back into routine and just kind of get things going. I use my 3-7 time blocking method. Of course, I use also my habits and routines organizer. So I just go back to what I intentionally set as what I want to do for our habits. I tweak things a little bit given what time I'm finishing work now, mostly just the timing of my routine. So that might be a good idea for you too. As you're moving into September, just think about resetting your routines, starting afresh, getting back in those habits, track those habits if you feel like that'll help you get back into your routine. It certainly helps me. So yeah, that's what I did to reset for the month. What are you doing to reset for this month? Also, I am drinking this Bloom energy drink that my friend Trey Michelle, she has a YouTube channel here, recommended on her channel. It's a natural energy drink just to kind of get the boost going for today, since we had a lot of stuff we were getting done. And I'm really, really liking these. And this is a strawberry watermelon flavor. So let me contextualize a little bit where we are in the 12-week year, where I am. I do my 12-week years with the quarters of the year. So this is the last month for me in this 12-week year. So it's time to go hard and go home. September, especially, as we'll talk about, is going to be a big month for me. So really thinking about, as you're planning this month, these are the last 4.5 weeks of this 12-week year. How can you push yourself to really meet those quarterly goals? Where are you in your monthly milestones, your monthly priorities, and what do you need to shift, adjust, or go maybe a little bit harder so that you can meet those 12-week year goals? So I just want to remind us where we are in the 12-week year. Okay, now I'm going to jump into planning this month. Pull out your planner. I'll be using my planner, of course, my modAmbition planner, to plan this month. Pull out whatever planner you use and let's plan September. So before I jump into planning my month, I always look at the last month and how I did on last month's goals. I'll put them up on the screen. I don't think I filmed an August plan with me, so you probably haven't heard these from me. And they're a little messy here. I'll show you here, but I'll have Angel, my lovely editor, put on the screen my actual monthly goals. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look at them in my phone. So I brainstorm my goals in my planner. And then when I put them in my Notion, in my monthly strategy, in my 12-week year Notion template, which you can grab below if you want, those are like the solidified ones. So I always write. When I'm writing, I'm processing. That's how humans do our best thinking, is with pen and paper. So that's what I do in my planner and the monthly planning. And then the ones in my Notion are the ones that are like solidified and that I am confidently doing. So I'm going to look at those. Okay, so towards my yearly goal of finishing my book, by Q4, I have for my quarterly goal to bank 12 stories. So for August, I wanted to add one story to each newsletter. So banking stories, but adding them also to my newsletter to get in the habit of polishing those stories, which I did, and 5 a.m. mornings reading time. That has not been as great. I would say I did about a 50% on waking up at 5 a.m., mostly just getting off of the jet lag and coming back into getting things like back to normal every day. Finally back at waking up at 5 a.m., but at the beginning of August, that was not great. So that's how I did on that. And then I also have some goals for content related to my yearly goal of expanding my business, posting 1 to 2 videos per week. That is a yes. 1 newsletter per week. That is also something that got done. And then 1 community post. I did well with that because I launched a new product in August, which went really well, which was my Productive Boss Notion system. And so I was posting a lot and that just naturally got done. So I will give myself a pat on the back for my content goals. Those are all towards my quarterly goal of reaching a certain number of subscribers on YouTube and on my newsletter. Then when it comes to my yearly goal of expanding my business, I have to do my live launch, which I did 2 workshops. Well, I did 1 workshop, but it was 2 different sessions in August. My Productive Boss workshop, which went really well. Thank you guys. Anyone that was able to come join me live or watch the replays. I did them on YouTube. Grew my list a lot. A lot of you guys signed up for the workshop to get the freebies, which you can still go watch if you haven't seen it. And you can still sign up to get the freebies if you want to get the resources that I gave away. I feel like the workshop was very valuable. I'm the type of person, I hate going to a workshop or webinar and it's just like fluff. I really pride myself on like, how am I going to make this workshop actually useful so people can say, wow, that was such a blessing. So glad I tuned in. And I feel like that was achieved. So many of you guys told me it was helpful. And then I have like a secret project that I'm working on that I have a few deliverables for in August, and those actually got done. Largely hiring help, which I was able to do, onboarding a few contractors to help me with that, and also a brand photo shoot, which was so fun. I don't have the images back yet, but I'll probably post a few of them. If you want to see how that went, I actually worked with this really great photographer here in Denver, and I'm really happy with how those came out. So those August goals did pretty well on. Pat. And then August, I also had goals for my yearly goal of showing up as my highest self. So continue a behavior board with my children, which has been going well. It's really helping them, largely my son, improve behaviors with positive reinforcement. Continue health and home routines, especially the 75 medium, which I'm still going to do that again because I had a chunk in the middle that I paused the 75 medium because I went on vacation and then restarted it. So I'm going to do it again, like a full 75 days consecutively. So I'll give myself a 50%. Even though I did the full 75, it wasn't consecutive, so kind of cheating. Routine boards and nightly academics, we completely fell off with that in August after we came back from vacation. I like to do like phonics with my children at the end of the night, use their routine boards. I'll put up a picture of their routine boards, their morning routine and their evening routine, just to give them that little check to positive reinforcement to do things in the morning, like make their bed, brush their teeth. It's all like, in a little board for them. Super helpful. I just haven't been using it, so I want to get back on that. And then reading at night, that has been moved to the morning, but basically like going to bed on time and having at least 20 minutes before I fall asleep of no screen time. I need to get back on track with that. The business ones were going great. After vacation, I still showed up and did what I was supposed to do there, largely because a lot of it was pre-planned. I also did well with getting back to my 5 a.m. mornings, but I need to improve on some of the personal health habits. So restarting 75 medium, and then my evening routine, getting back into like going to bed on time and no screen time before I fall asleep. So that's how I did with my August goals. Take a moment and look at your August goals and see how you did, what worked for you that you're going to double down on, and then what are some things that you maybe want to improve on. So now I'm actually going to turn to my monthly monthly planning page for September. I will put pictures on the screen and go through the prompts that are in my monthly planning pages in my modAmbition planner, and you're welcome to do this with me. So again, before I set my monthly goals, I like to do the conscious work to really figure out what I'm leaning into, if there's anything I need to change. I do have in my Notion 12-week year template a way to have a bird's eye view of all 3 months goals within your 12-week year, so you can kind of strategize how you're going to lay out things and break things down, those 12-week year goals. But I still like to do the conscious work each month and set those goals and make sure that the ones that I set in the Notion template at the beginning of the quarter for that month are still on track with reality and where I am now, and if I want to continue those things based on what's going on in life. So I have a rough idea already set. Usually when I do my quarterly planning and I do my quarterly strategy in my Notion template, I'll put up pictures so you know what I'm talking about. But I still obviously in my monthly resets look at it and plan my month and plan my goals just to stay on track. So one of those things that I do for the conscious work is to look at last month's wins and last month's challenges. So last month's wins, obviously as I'm filming this before September, Layla's starting kindergarten, which is actually going on now at the end of August, which is going really, really great. That's definitely a win. She's so confident. She went in, she didn't cry. She was like so excited to go. I had to like pull her back to give me a sugar to remind her. I, of course, cried in the car, but she had such a good day on her first day. Today is her second day. And so she's really, really excited. So that's definitely an August win. My mom continues to have testing just to make sure everything is going well with her post-cancer now that she's cancer-free. And those tests have been coming out really good. She's still cancer-free, praise God. Another win for August was my Productive Boss Notion system launch. That went really well. Anytime I'm launching a new product, there's always this fear like, is this really going to help people? I know it helps me, but is it going to resonate with other people? And the feedback on it has been really great. So that was a good launch. And it was also a very organic and natural launch. It didn't feel like I was overexerting myself or overwhelmed or overstimulated. It just kind of like went with the flow, which was like no pressure. Everything just felt natural, which is great. And then also last month's wins, getting back to routines, as I mentioned, has been going well. Getting back to my 5 a.m. time, my early morning routine. If you know my 3-7 time blocking method, just having that time for myself before the kiddos wake up has been great. Last month's challenges in August, I feel like two of these are recurring challenges. One, my husband being out of town. Second one, I was sick. So in my second workshop in August, the live, I was actually sick, but it still turned out okay. My energy wasn't as high as I would want it to be live, but it didn't seem to really bother people that much. But it was a challenge being sick. And then not being in my office, as you guys can see, has been a challenge. That second workshop where I was sick, I was also in my son's bedroom. You know, the show must go on, as you can see here. But not being in my office is really a foundation of my productivity. So having to find places to work around my house, especially my daughter coming home, and when she started school, they had half days. So, you know, that morning time, having like my work stuff around while she's like still around has been challenging. So after this week, actually, I should be back in my office. Things should be done. So I'm really, really excited about that. So those were my last month's wins and my last month's challenges. What were your wins last month? What really worked for you? What are you proud of? Take some time to appreciate that. And also think about what were your challenges and is there anything you can do to course correct or learn from those challenges moving forward? Also, before you plan your month, you want to take a look at where you're going. So let's take a look at my yearly goals. Remind me of that, and my quarterly goals, as well as my year at a glance planning. And these are very generic, just to give myself a little bit of privacy at the end of the year. I'll share what they are specifically. But finish my book, which has been put on hold simply because I want to learn more. I want to advance my writing skills. I'm also learning a lot more about who the book is supposed to be helping my audience. And I'm also doing more research. So I felt like I was trying to fast track that because I wanted to be able to launch it next year. And I don't think that was in service of the book. I've written 3 published books already. And a lot of those were very much driven by what the publisher wanted me to write. This is my first book that like my own from start to finish, from idea to finish. And I wanted to be really representative of who I am, which is intentional productivity, but also infused with like honoring your highest self, because I believe our goals were placed in our hearts by God, and it is our sacred duty to fulfill them and to work towards becoming, you know, the best version of ourselves. So I want to be able to do it in a more thoughtful way, in a more engaging way when it comes to my writing. I really want to improve upon it and not just be giving tips. I really want it to be an easy and enjoying read. So I put that on pause, but I'm still doing work that's helping me get to the final book, if that makes sense. So like the story banking, the story writing, I'm working on my writing skills, taking courses for writing, waking up early and reading a lot of research for the book. So the part that's on hold is the actual writing of the actual work. Second goal is to expand my business. My third yearly goal is to show up as my highest self. And then I also have my year at a glance. If you want that PDF, I will link it below, where I, at the beginning of the year and beginning of the quarter, I refresh it, look at sort of my yearly planner. You can see these pages. I'll put up on the screen an actual version since the lighting here. You can see this is July, August, and September, and then the dates go down this way. And then I just look at what I have planned for this month. September, I have a workshop. My first workshop, Finish the Year Strong, is going to be on September 26th. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. It's just going to be about how we're going to finish the year strong and reach our yearly goals in the last 12 weeks of the year. Accomplish more in 12 weeks than most do all year. I also have my anniversary this month, which was the 1st of the September, which I probably should have said first. So we were married in 2018, so that'll be 7 years married. That's 5, so we've been together 12 years, gonna be married 7 years. And then let's revisit my quarterly goals. Again, I'll go back to my Notion template because they're finalized there. The quarterly planning I have here was the brainstorm in my paper planner. Let's look at the actual one. By Q4, add 12 stories to my story bank. So I really try to bank a story each week from my life that could be useful and engaging to my audience. That's going well because I'm also adding them to my newsletters. By Q4, reach 50K subs on YouTube and 12K active email subscribers. I've already reached the email subscribers goal, but I might clean my email list. So I'll have to check back on that. People that are not engaged. So if you want to stay on my email list, be sure to open my emails because I clean my email list probably every 2 months. The 50K subs, I'm working towards it. I'm proud of my progress. I still have some work to do. I'm going to be posting more on YouTube this month to try to help myself get there, but I think I'm at 27K at the time of this filming, so I still have quite a ways to go. Pretty ambitious goal. By Q4, consistent content, 1 to 2 videos on YouTube, 1 newsletter per week, and 1 community post. So consistent content is going really well. By Q4, 2 live workshops, so 1 down, already did 1. Improve my Systemize My Goals course. I'm actually launching a new version of the course, which I'll be telling you guys more about at the end of the month. Well, it's lots of improvements, but one of the main ones that you guys already know about is the business systems that I'll be adding. So in my Productive Boss workshop, I kind of went over them globally, and in the course, I'm going to do a deep dive. I'm going to give like SOP templates. I'm going to give a lot of stuff to help people really get organized in their business. So that'll be coming to my Systemize Your Goals course, which those are almost done. And then I'm also reopening the ability to work with me one-to-one, which I'll be talking more about. And then I have my personal goals, which I have in private, but a lot of them are related to health and home habits. So those are my quarterly goals. Take a moment to look at your yearly goals. Remind yourself also of your quarterly goals or any important dates from your year at a glance before we dive into planning this month's goals. Okay, so let's move into our intention for the month. My intention for this month, although it sounds a little cheesy, is to ask, believe, and receive. I am expanding myself in new ways by opening up this new program, this new way of working with me in a way that's bigger than I've ever done it before. And with each step that you take, there becomes a little bit of resistance. There's a shedding that happens. There's a letting go of old beliefs that happen. I wrote about this in a recent newsletter. So I am working on a lot of manifestation stuff that I haven't had to use in a while, but just being so connected with God in not only my personal life, but in my wishes and my hopes and my dreams for my business, relying on God, being more faithful, working on those limiting beliefs and that resistance that I have. And there's a couple different things that I'm doing to overcome those things. So my intention is really to ask, believe, and receive, and to not be afraid to move to new levels and be open to it working. Instead of asking, well, what if this doesn't work? Asking myself, what if it does? And I feel like I've been in such a comfort zone offering things that I didn't have to speak directly directly with people or put myself out there so much. It's kind of been things that are just like, if you want it, you can take it. If not, okay. But now I'm really going to be putting myself out there in a way that is less passive, I guess. And that requires me to get uncomfortable, which I'm excited about. So that's my intention for the month. What's your intention for this month? And then when it comes to my priority for this month, I have 3. So promote my workshop, finish the year strong. It's a free workshop. I'll be giving away tons of free resources. I'll put a link in the description to sign up if you guys want to join me for that. And also promoting the waitlist to work with me directly one-to-one. That's what I was just talking about, opening myself up. So the past work that I've done with Systemize Your Goals with one-to-one clients have been in my accountability group, which I opened at the beginning of the year and closed very quickly. It was a very small group. And then anyone who has reached out to me directly asking for me to work with them on implementing the systems that I teach, helping them get more focused, more organized, more productive. So I'll be opening that back up. So I'll be promoting my workshop and also the wait list to work with me directly. That's a priority. My second priority are my kids' routines. My son is going to be in pre-K. My daughter, as I've mentioned, is in kindergarten. So getting them back to their routines and in a consistent flow. I really want them to have that stability and that sort of consistency. And then my third one is to finding a new nanny / mommy helper. One of the girls that helps us sometimes, like when we're going to date night or when the kids are out of school, like during the week when I still need to work, she moved back to France. So we need a new person. We have another girl, but she also has her own business, so she's not always available. So we are interviewing folks. So that is a third priority. What's your priority for the month? And then for how I want to feel this month, I put faithful, just leaning back into what I was saying before as far as my intention, asking, believing, and receiving. I want to feel faithful. I want to feel confident in God's plan for me. And even if things don't work out 100% how I want them to, as far as certain goals that I have, knowing that everything is happening for a reason. And if it's not what I want, I know God's going to give me something better. So this or something better in God's divine timing. And I am faithful that that is what I'm going to receive. So that's how I want to feel this month. How do you want to feel this month? All right, so let's jump into my brainstorming for my monthly goals. I'm going to read them here. I've also put them in my Notion 12-week year template in the quarterly strategy piece. So they're solidified there, but this is what I brainstormed that I'm going to share with you. So for my book goal, or what is helping me towards those larger goals around my book, is 1 story banked per week and my reading time, which is in the morning. Then for my consistent content goals for my quarter, I have 2 videos per week and 1 newsletter per week. The push is really going to be go up to 2 videos per week. Plus I'm planning my live launch. Plus I'm making updates to my course, but I am full-time now in my business. Up until August, I was still doing contracting work with a community mental health agency I was working with before with the interns. Part-time, I have left that and fully working for myself in neuropsychology and in my coaching as far as Systemize Your Goals. So I should have time to get that done. We'll see. We will check back next month when I am planning my quarter, would probably be the next video like this. And then 1 to 2 community posts per week. I want to continue to give value outside of my newsletter and my long form videos. So more like bite-sized ways to be useful or hopefully be useful. You guys will let me know in community posts. And then for my expanding my business goals, my Q3 goals, my live workshop, editing my course, and launching Systemize Your Goals Accelerator. So that is that opportunity to work with me more directly. And it will have my course, Systemize Your Goals, which is going to be completely revamped. So if you already have Systemize Your Goals, you will get those edits, and you'll also get a chance to get in the accelerator at a discounted rate to work with me directly. So we will have one-to-one meetings. We will also have group accountability. I'm really hoping to take ownership of your goals. What I mean by that is be so invested. That's actually part of my guarantee, is helping you move closer to your goals much faster, helping get more focused, more organized, more productive. So I will be launching that so I can have more hands-on with the people that are in Systemize Your Goals, not just an on-demand course, but making sure that I'm helping you be accountable, giving you the tools to personalize it, giving you mentorship, giving you community of women that are ambitious as well, and just helping you get there much faster. So that is launching in September. Well, at least the opening to apply will be opening in September. And then healthy habits, continuing continuing on my home routines, the learning nights. So basically the stuff I'm working on with my kids for learning at night, especially also Layla will have homework now, which is like so cool. 75 medium and hiring the new nanny. So those are my goals for September. Pretty ambitious now that I'm saying them out loud, but I'm going to use grace and try my best, and I will report back. What are your goals for the month of September? So let's dive into how these are going to translate in a week-to-week basis with my weekly lead goals. So if you use the 12-week year, you set your monthly priorities, which are your monthly goals, and then you break them down to what you're going to do each week, and that's what you're actually going to be tracking each week. In my 12-week year Notion template, I have your weekly scorecard. It has a reset button, so everything clears at the end of the week to set you up for the next week. But all those weekly lead goals, which means they're leading to your lag goals, which are like your bigger goals, you want to also decide when you're going to do them, and you want to be hitting them at least 85% each week. So let me look at my weekly scorecard. I also put screenshots. So for finishing my book, my lead goals are wake up at 5 a.m. each morning, screens off by 9, lights out by 9:30, and reading 30 minutes a day. So those are my quarterly goal of finishing my book, like the book goals. For expanding my business, yearly goal and the quarterly goal that connected to that, posting 1 to 2 videos per week, my weekly personal newsletter and story banking, 1 to 2 community posts per month, and my work on my Systemize Your Goals accelerator. So those are the things that I'm going to be doing each week, and I have down when I'm going to work on those things. Then for my goal of showing up as my highest self, which is consistent home and health habits for the quarter, health and home routines consistent, and I'm tracking that also on a daily basis, not just weekly. My nightly kids academics, daily 75 medium task. If you don't know what 75 medium is, it's kind of like a lifestyle fitness challenge. It started off as 75 hard, and then 75 medium is like the more gentle version. I think there's even a 75 easy, but I like the 75 medium. I'll put up on the screen what it entails. 45 minutes of working out each day, 10 minutes of reading, staying to a certain diet, no alcohol, and you periodically take pictures of yourself for the fitness part of it. And then the last part of my showing up as my higher self is weekly individual quality time with each kid. I notice that my kids are totally different when I'm one-to-one with them, and I feel like a lot of the behaviors I was noticing, the behavior board is them trying to get attention because there's 2 of them always, and they're 17 months apart. They've always been together. So JV takes them every other Sunday. JV is my husband, to play golf, 1, and I stay with 1. So that gives us one-on-one time. And then with my daughter, I'm also going to be picking her up from school by herself, and that gives us one-to-one time. And then my husband picks up my son, and then we'll switch that sometimes so that we can get time with the other kid. So that's kind of taking care of itself organically and with my husband's Sunday routine. So those are my weekly lead goals. Be sure to set those up for yourself, whether you do it in Notion or by hand or some other project management software, so you can track those on a weekly basis. That's kind of how you put all of this on autopilot. So you're not like setting your monthly goals and then totally forgetting about them. You're tracking those every week in your monthly review. You want my weekly review checklist. That's what I do each and every week when I plan my week. I review my goals. I will link below a free getting things done weekly review checklist if you want to get started with that. Okay, so those are my lead goals. I also kind of try to take a look at my habit tracker and my habits and routines organizer. I just did that recently also for my monthly planning. So that's all set to go. I'll put a picture of it up. And then I did want to mention one monthly fave that we got. So if you know how I plan my months, I have my meal plan on the fridge in a magnet. And then I also usually had my month in a magnet where I would transfer. We have a family Google Calendar. That way I can add to it, my husband can add to it. We also use that email for like the school emails and everything. So we both get those emails. It's not just me. So I would transfer that on the fridge when we're, in our day-to-day life, like see what's going on in the week. If we had a birthday party to go to or a play date or a swim lesson, all that kind of family stuff was on that magnetic calendar on the fridge. Well, I'm looking for ways to get more and more stuff off of my plate, and redoing that calendar each month was one of them, especially if things change throughout the month. So finally broke down and we got the skylight, and I gotta say, I love it. We got the skylight calendar. It's in our kitchen. We got the 15-inch one, which is, I can't imagine it being any bigger. I don't need it to be any bigger. And and we love it. My husband loves it, and he's very digital first kind of person. The kids like it. You can do meal planning on there as well and chores. So check it out. It's my monthly fave for this month. If you have one, let me know what you think. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Happy September. I'm wishing you the best with your goals in this week, push in this last 4 weeks of this 12-week year. And I'll see you next time. Cheers to planning, manifesting, and enjoying your dream life. Namaste.